Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 10 out of Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all like y'all rocking with me. This video, I'm going to break down how I felt I started to transform into an actual prisoner. The feelings of becoming a gladiator, becoming a soldier, becoming a whatever you want to call it. I felt like a fucking Spartan in prison. I felt like I was in 300, marching around, ready to go to war. And I'm going to break down the transition from the streets, county, into this mindset, into this mentality. Now, I told y'all in the last video about my first prison mission. When I say I felt like a Spartan, I'm not necessarily talking about the violent aspect. What I'm talking about is how we're treated in there. The second you get in, everybody's getting a bald head. Y'all remember in the movie 300, all the young kids, they had shaved heads, they're fighting each other, they're wrestling, they're getting yelled at and told what to do. It's the same exact thing for us. The YOs are not like the adults. When you go through reception, all the COs are yelling at everyone. But on the adult side, it's a little bit more lax. It's a little bit more laid back. The COs aren't really doing all that. They'll put on, but at the same time, they're putting on because they know pretty much none of these adults are permanents. You know what I'm saying? They put on this front like, oh, we're big and bad. The YOs, they get up in your face, they scream, they spit in your fucking face, they cuss at you, everything. It's a whole nother ball game. The best thing to compare it to would be the military, the drill instructors. That is exactly how it is. Now, I told y'all we got these T buildings. When you go into a wing, you have the day room right in front of you in a long hallway. There's bottom tier, there's a top tier. There's the stairs in the front, stairs in the back, and there's a bridge that goes across the top. When our cells used to pop, we used to hear an alarm go off at like 5 in the fucking morning. The alarm will go off before the cell's open. When you hear that alarm, you gotta jump out of your bed, stop brushing your teeth, because when those doors pop, you're expected to be on this long yellow line that's on each side of the tier. So if you're on the top tier, you gotta run downstairs. Everybody has to line up, arms by your side, head up, chest out, everything, the whole fucking nine. When they come in, if you're not right, you're getting the shit slapped out of you first quarter. They're not playing with the YOs just because, I don't know. They say they try to be more brutal to us to keep us from coming back. But to me, the brutalization, the abuse, it does the complete opposite. It fills us with rage and hatred for authority. And that same authority, when you're released, when you have a manager that starts barking at you, you start thinking about these type of people. And it kind of gives you, I don't know, it's like a feeling of, I couldn't do this to the COs because they would have killed me. But I can do something to you. I can make you feel weak. I can physically overpower you and there's nothing you can do except call the police. But if I do that, I lose my job. There's so many things that I disagreed with on how they treated us in the YOs, but we were also the most violent in the prisons. So you can't have the best of both worlds. You can't have friendly officers and we're over here $150ing each other and setting each other on fire and doing TOHs. But at the same time, they put so much fire in our chest, we could feel it burning every time they came in. Because when they come in, we got to be on the yellow line. We got to yell it out. Officer on deck, sergeant on deck. If a captain come, captain on deck, all that shit. You got to let it be known when you speak to them. Inmate, did you fill out the request form? Yes. What did you say to me, inmate? Sir, yes, sir. Like, you really got to be on point. Sir, yes, sir. Ma'am, yes, ma'am. All that fuck shit. It doesn't matter if it's a nurse, anybody. And a lot of the female staff, they'll get up in your face and tell you you can't look them in their eye. And other officers and sergeants, males, will do the same thing. Oh, you eye fucking me, boy? It's dead serious. It's a whole nother type of authority and control over you, because county jail was nothing like this. County, they weren't screaming at you and doing this, that. You might have a CO that boots up and gets in your face, but it's not as hands-on as this, because they're grabbing you up and tossing you off the fucking wall. They'll throw you in the mop closet. They'll put on their heavy-duty gloves they got from Home Depot and beat your shit in front of everybody. If we're not watching it, we're hearing it. We know what's going on. They'll take you into a cell. The officer will come out, take his gloves off. You'll come out a minute later all fucked up, putting toothpaste on your lip because your lip split, your black eye, this, that, and the third. And we all just remain quiet. When we go to chow, if a high-ranking, whatever pulls you aside, you can't say nothing. And they know what time it is. And they'll ask you too, just to see if you'll tell. Oh, he did it. Oh, you saying that my sergeant did that to you? You're going to lie on my sergeant like that? All right, we got something for you. And they'll take you to confinement. They'll starve you. They'll gas you. They'll torture you in there. It's crazy having to adjust to this, because we're trying to adjust to opposite gang members, which is why the reception centers aren't as violent when you have opposite gangs. Everybody will be in here. Bloods, Kings, Zoes, Crips, GDs. Everybody's in here. But we're not going to war because there is no war. None of us know each other. None of us have a problem with each other off rip. It's not like when you go to a real prison and there's already a war established because a Zoe cut a blood. And so now when we get there, it's automatic war after some shit. That happened in the past. Reception isn't like that because we're all new. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we're trying to build alliances, and we're trying to, you're going to click up. The neutrons will just sit there quiet by themselves. They're trying to be low key because they don't want pressure getting put on them by other groups or organizations, or you'll have some neutrons that want to be recruited. So they're trying to bump and show out and prove themselves. But while all this is going on, we're dealing with these officers that are doing this crazy shit. I remember the same black sergeant that brought my big brother from the adult side to H dorm. He went at one of my bros. He's MPI. He's currently in county jail on a murder charge right now. Sad to say. But, he did something that the sergeant found disrespectful. And what was that? We used to have to shave with a razor every single day. We'd have to turn the razor back in. When we shaved, we weren't allowed to look in the mirror. We weren't allowed to wet our face. We weren't allowed to do anything. We had to stand on this yellow line in our boxes, stripped down, and shave. And the man next to you, whether it's the left or the right, would have to tell you if your face was good. My bro had sensitive skin, so he couldn't shave without bleeding because he would cut himself so easily. So when the sergeant walked up to him and he's bleeding, he's got the shit dribbling down his neck, he said, "Sergeant, I can't shave anymore." He said, "Inmate, what? I don't give a fuck if you gotta skin yourself, you're gonna shave." So he sucked his teeth and was like, "Man, I ain't shaving no more." Sergeant put the gloves on in front of him, hit him in his face first quarter. Got him right in his fucking face, right? When he hit him, my bro backed up and just... Because you know what's going to happen if you put hands on one of these COs. And this specific sergeant abused his power to the extreme. He would cuff you up and beat you. You're going to get a broken jaw. There's nothing you can do. But he hit him. My bro got back in line. He hit him again. My bro got back in line again. And he told him, he said, "I want a fucking tooth." Now, when he said that, the other officer, who was a Latin king, kind of stepped in a way. But the thing is, one CO doesn't want to make another one look bad. So he stepped in the sense of grabbing up my bro and acting like he was going to handle him. But he was really sparing him at the same time. You know what I mean? And I mean, we were just filled with I was filled with rage. I wanted to snap. I wanted to go in about bro. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to go in. But at the end of the day, we know what time it is with these COs. You're not going to get a fair fight. And if you hit one of these COs up, this isn't like another state where they just be knocking out the crackers left and right. Like in New York, they be flipping them. Here, they will kill you. You're going to die. These COs are killers. They're not, they're not just going to put a little ticket on you. They're not just going to write you up and hit you with a new charge. No, they're going to bury you. They're going to fuck you up, or they're going to have an inmate kill you. And that's just how it is. They know what they're doing. They know how to play these dirty ass games. Now, I remember there was this big ass kid that came in from St. Pete. I'm talking about swole as hell. He was an Aint. And he got tried by a different sergeant at a different time. And this sergeant's like 6'3", bigger than a bitch. Like fat, country, muscle looking, barrel body, you know what I'm saying? But the sergeant got up in his face and started talking shit, and he's cussing at him. And he said, "What do you want to go in the room, inmate?" And this kid from St. Pete literally just turned around and walked into the cell. Sergeant followed him in the cell. We're all waiting for it. We all know they're about to tear it down in there. We don't hear anything though. He comes back out. Sergeant comes back out. And the sergeant tried to play it off, and he made us PT. We all had to get down. We all had to start doing push-ups and shit like that. But after he left, the kid from St. Pete was like, man, he called me in the room and he was like, "You really want to do this?" And I was just like, "Man, you called me out. I'm in prison for the next 10 years. He said, "How old are you?" "Man, I'm 18. Why are you like this?" And the sergeant tried to break it down like he was the problem. Nah, you called that man out. He got 10 years. He's 18 years old. He ready to go. We know this is reception. We got to make a name. He's not letting the CO try him. You're calling him out for a fade. He's going to bump. That's different than just beating an inmate. Because if they're calling you out to fight, it means that there's some form of respect. He's not going to snitch. He's not going to force it. Had it been the other sergeant, things would have ended up differently. Now, like I said, we had the PT in this. So we got to do push-ups, squats. We got to lay back, butterfly kicks. We got to do everything, sit-ups. We got to go out in the rec yard, PT on the rec yard. It's insane. And we also have to match. So we got to get in rows of 3. Hip, 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 hip. We got to do all that shit. In every camp you go to, there's different styles of marching. I think OCI, which is the reception center, left, right, left, right, left, right, run to the back, left, right. And we all used to yell this shit. So you got one inmate that's doing the cadence, and the rest of us is just screaming this shit. But as we're doing it, it kind of pumps everybody up. You know what I'm saying? There was Army ones. "Hey, Captain Jack. Hey, Captain Jack. Meet me by the railroad track. Meet me by the railroad track. With a Bible in my hand. With a Bible in my hand. I'ma be a preacher, man." There was all different. With a case of honey buns. Your peanut butter squeeze. Talking about all different types of shit. We used to get real pumped up about it because we would start yelling out our gang shit. "We sliding wild, Lord of wild, throw your fives up high, and your crowns up high, and your B's up high, and your sevens up high." So, everyone, you throwing blood up, crowns up, NPR throwing sevens up. If the Zoes are doing cadence, throw your Z's up high, throw your C's up high, throw your G's up high. Every gang or whoever was doing cadence is throwing up their own gang shit. We're talking about hitting each other up. We're talking about letting guns off and shit, all in the cadence, and the COs used to let us do it. So you start feeling like you really in some shit, you know what I'm saying? But people were also getting hit too. Not so much at reception, but when we used to march around in the gladiators, that's how it was. Your gang would line up in a certain area in the line. Bloods might be in the back. We don't want to be in the front because we want to view who's in front of us. So we're all marching together. We got knives on us, whatever. Ha, ha, ha. Pull it out. Ha, ha. Break the line. And just start tagging somebody. We felt like a little fucking army in there. We felt like we was... I don't know, and all we're doing is we're PTing, we're working out, we're fucking each other up. But I just remember The first time I took a breath in my cell at the Orlando Reception Center after the day was done, after I had the PT, get screamed at, go through all this shit, and I laid in my cell, and the cell was so fucking small, I could put my arms on both sides of the walls. It was tiny. And I just thought to myself, how am I going to be able to do 3 years in here? How am I going to be able to... I can't see that far in the future. Like, how am I going to do this? And, you know, a lot of people say like, oh, I don't think I could last in prison. It's like I always say, you don't have an option. You just have to do it. You got to wake up and day by day deal with this shit. So I'd fall asleep tired as fuck. And it would feel like I didn't even sleep. I would hear this, this alarm goes off. I got to jump up. Stop brushing my teeth. The doors pop. I'm not even dressed yet. So I started getting dressed while I was asleep. You know, I get dressed before I went to bed so that when I wake up, all I got to do is brush my teeth and come out onto the line. And then some days, you know, when it's pressure in the air, when people start arguing with each other and you know there's going to be a fight and you're fucking exhausted from PTing, you've been working out nonstop, you wake up, brush your teeth, and you got to be on point. Splash cold water in your face. You come out, and you're ready to go at it with somebody. And you know something's going to pop off. You know whether they're trying to TOH, whether they're trying to jump, whether somebody's going to try to cut. But you're just so physically strained. We go to chow. The COs are ruthless in chow. We're not allowed to speak in the chow hall. We're not allowed to swap food in the chow hall. We're barely allowed to look up in the chow hall. You say one fucking thing, they'll wait until you get your tray, turn the corner and smack the tray out of your hand all over you and then tell you to pick that shit up. Or they'll make you do push-ups on top of the food just to disrespect the shit out of you and then send you outside and you don't even get to eat. And they're not even letting us hit canteen at this point. Most of these kids just got to prison. They don't have money on their books yet. So we're starving, eating these 3 trays. When the majority of these trays, it's not even edible. The milk they're giving us is spoiled. You can't even drink it. You'll sip it and fucking throw up and then have to do push-ups in your throw up because that's just how these COs are. And then you got to scoop it up with your hands and throw it in the fucking trash and clean everything up for them. Oh, you want to throw up in my chow hall, boy? Like, all that. They don't play any fucking game in here. You can't take nothing back from chow. It's intense. It's very fucking intense. And the whole time all of this is going on, I'm just thinking to myself, this is the beginning. You know, I went to prison when it was hard as fuck. I went to prison in March. So from March to April, I didn't hit Sumter until April. It's burning hot. We all got bald heads. Everybody, we're all outside, non-stop in the heat, just drenched in sweat. We go back into the cells. There's no AC in here. The windows are open year round. So it's hot as shit in the cell. We're sweating. Tired, exhausted. All we can do is drink out of the pipe. We don't get juice inside of the prisons. It's so watered down. You're not really drinking anything. And at the end of the day, you don't know who's been touching it or doing what. So you'll just go up and just get water and just keep drinking water. Just trying to stay hydrated because you know you're about to go through pressure. You know you're about to keep marching around, keep sweating, getting screamed at. We don't get to walk. They make us double time. And for y'all that don't know about prison or the military, double time means haul ass. It means run. Everywhere we go, we got a double time. Double time, inmate. All that. When we're doing push-ups, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3. If one kid fucks up, we gotta repeat the whole thing. Not the push-ups. We started off with the burpees, then the squats, then the bicycle kicks, then the sit-ups, then the push-ups. You fucked up push-ups, we gotta go all the way back to the beginning and do it all over again. You had kids that would check in, that would go PC just because of how extreme the workouts were. They would refuse to do it. Get hit with 30 days in confinement. They get gassed in confinement. They buck the gas. They try to block it or anything. That's another DI right there. Now you're doing 60 days in the summer, hot as fuck, in confinement. You don't know if your bunky's going to be an adult. Because in the YOs, when you're at the reception, they'll put an adult in your room. So you a small little white boy, you're going to be getting dicked down in confinement. That's the reality of it. You could be black. You get a big black motherfucker. He come in there, knock your ass out, start taking your food. You don't know if he's a booty bandit. They really don't even see color, just to keep it real. If they want it, they're going to try to take it. And you young. You just got here. You could be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way up to 24. Get put in the cell with somebody that got 4 life sentences and just came to prison. Ain't got no mind. You could be in the room with somebody that's mid-transfer, that's been down for 20 years already and got another 60 years to go. And they put you in the room with him. Come on, huh? The reception center was giving us a taste of prison, but at the same time, we were finding friends in one another. We were starting to form brotherhoods. We weren't all just enemies. A lot of us still had the same immaturity from the county, the juvies, and the streets. It wasn't how the prisons were yet. You could see the difference when we hit Sumter, when we hit Lancaster. The shell-shocked look on kids' faces, you see them. Their eyes are wide as shit. They're quiet. It was different. Here, we were still smiles. We were still laughing and joking around, slap boxing. We would go on the rec yard and play football with each other. We would have rap battles in the cell. We would lock down 3-4 people in one cell until the next count time, and we would just hang the fuck out. And some CEOs would let us do it. You know, we'd smoke in there. I remember it was me, Bone, and Sense. Shout out to the both of them. We sat in the cell and we would just freestyle rapping and shit. And Sense actually liked what I was rapping. So when we went out on the yard, he was like, yo, hit that shit, hit that shit. And everybody was in like a little cypher type shit. So I went to hitting my shit. They were like, okay, the white boy is snapping. Okay. It was cool because there wasn't that pressure yet. You know what I mean? We didn't have that element of war at that time, but we were starting to feel like we had it. We were feeling like we were prisoners now. Like, we're walking the yard. We got razors in our mouths. Like, and then we got a shipment where people got transferred and put into the dorm, and they came from Sumter. They came from the prison that most of us were going to. And when they came in, they had that look. They had that shell-shocked. Some of them had scars on their face. It was just different. We could tell they'd been somewhere. And it got our attention because it's like, you know, if you ever see the war movies of the guys in the army going to the battle, when they cross paths with the guys coming from the battle, they have that youth, that youthful energy about them. And then they look at these guys and they seem so much older and worn out and been through so much pain, when in all actuality, they're like the same fucking age. You know what I mean? These kids that came through 18, 17, because we were in the 18 and under wing. And they've already been to Sumter, so they got there when they were like 15, 16. They're coming back with big ass scars on their face, scars on their heads. We start talking to some of them. They start telling us how it is. They're like, oh, you a blood? They're going to take you off the compound first quarter. You're a 7, they're going to come wipe you out. You a Zoe, you straight. We started to hear about the type of division and wars that were going on where we were going. And it kind of made us look at one another. You know, like there was a Zoe I was in there with named Fat Zoe from Orlando. Shout out to bro. There was a lot of people I was in there with. Flex from Orlando, he a Crip. Shout out to him. But we all just started looking at each other differently. Like when I get here, even though we've been ha-ha, kiki hanging out, are we going to be trying to hit each other up? Am I looking at my enemy before he becomes my enemy? And it was a very strange feeling. Because like I said, we didn't have that division. But hearing it out of their mouths, what was to come, It planted that seeds in our head. And we understood at that point, as tough as we were feeling, we haven't been through shit yet. And I mean, we had COs coming up in our face. There was one CO, he was in the military. I have 3 confirmed kills in Iraq. How many do you have? And there was an inmate there. He was like, I got 1. He got the shit smacked out of him for saying it. But he was in there for a body. And you know, the fucking CO showing off that he got 3 bodies in war, whatever. Just the way that they were being hot asses to us, we felt like we went through something. And it's only just begun. And when it came that time to get transferred, when we knew we were going to something CI, that's when that battle-ready feeling really kicked in. That's when your adrenaline, you just start feeling fire through your veins. You've been mentally preparing yourself. By this time, I had already fought. Most of my fighting in prison happened in the reception center my first couple of weeks. The majority of my fights. My first couple fights, I never got hit because I would just blitz inside of the cell and try to punish you as fast as fucking possible. I've had on somebody on my channel that I fought. I just didn't put the story out there. But he's been on, and shout out to bro. He knows who he is. But it's just crazy preparing yourself for the unknown, knowing that hands is about to turn into razors, knives, pokers, locks. Fighting isn't good enough anymore. Fighting is considered, that's what you do to your own people. We want to hurt you. We want to rip you, gut you. We want to air flight you. We want you to have seizures. We don't want you walking around the compound normally. We want to send you somewhere else where you need to get stitched up. Just that thought and getting ready for it excited me. And I say that because I knew there was no escaping it. I knew that there was no getting away from it. I'm in prison. This is what I have to do. This is how this society is. So I embraced it. I accepted the fact that I'm about to become the most violent I've ever been. And be as violent as fucking possible while I'm in here with no sympathy, with no regret. I want to hurt somebody over and over and over again. And these were my thoughts before I go to sleep. It changed from how am I going to be able to do this to this is how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make this fucking name. I'm gonna build this reputation. And figuring out how am I gonna do time turned into I'm gonna put my thoughts and energy into this violence. And I quickly figured out the violence makes time fly. When all you're thinking about is, I can't wait to wake up because when this kid comes out all sleepy and shit, as soon as we start matching the chow, I'm going to split his face. So I was excited to go to sleep, to wake up and hit somebody up. I was excited for the doors to pop for rec because I knew that one of them were going to hit up one of them. And I get to sit and watch this shit with my bros. We're not even a part of it, but I know what's going to happen. I see him pull out the poker. He's walking up behind him. Boom, he's hitting him up in his face. We're like, damn, this shit got stuck in his cheek. He couldn't even pull it out. This kid's walking around. This shit's hanging out. The violence was making the time fly. Which is another reason why I feel we were so violent. We didn't know how to do time any other way. But I'm going to get into that even more when I touch back down on the YO prisons. I told y'all I'm bringing y'all these stories. I really want to bring y'all in depth into some of the feelings and things that happened outside of the main stories I've already told, the emotions, the thoughts, why we feel how we feel, how the system somewhat created us to want to be like this, to want to go at it, to want to fight, how the COs would enforce gang politics, how they would tell you which gangs that they favored. And if you weren't on the right side, they're going to let them come for you. And when you have a CO that's on your side, now you want to take off on them because you have the ability to do so. They bred us like fucking pits in there. If you didn't want to be a pit, you weren't going to make it. But hey, it's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Till next time.